Set Free Radio. Truth music for East Texas.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Set Free Radio. Truth music for East Texas.
This all I know. I pull up, I'm heavy, they looking, they checking, they asking, they questions. I get them their blessings, I'm teaching them lessons, believing in fast. I pull up, I'm heavy, they looking, they checking, they asking, they questions. I get them their blessings, I'm teaching them lessons, believing in prayers. Could've been a baller, but instead I gave it to the head of my life, who came in when the chains went around my head, heavy with the weights of this life. I mean, we here to pull them out for them, kick a demon out for them, take away they doubts for them, help them realize that a life dedicated to Christ can get them right if they cry out. This all I know.
All right, welcome to Set Free Radio. I'm your brother Justin. This is the place where our mission is to positively impact our community and social media with the hope of Jesus Christ through Christian rap and conversations. And we have a definitely awesome interview today, a good conversation with the beautiful Michole Jones of Pretty Girls Get Sick. And, if you can take a second to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Tell them where they can find you on social media.
Hi, yes, I'm Michole Jones. They can find me on social media on Instagram at prettygirlsgetsick. And also I have a Facebook private group called Pretty Girls Get Sick for now.
Right now, okay, y'all just check that out. We got an interview. We're going to get a little bit more into her platform and just her story, her testimony, all that good stuff. So first, before we do that, you got her social media information. Make sure that y'all follow Set Free Radio on all forms of social media. Check us out. We are on YouTube. We got our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We try to go live Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so, man, y'all check us out. We got a lot of good stuff going on. Also, we got a Patreon, man. If y'all like what we're doing, if you want to partner with us, so the links and everything will be all in the description for all that, man. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to play some dope music. I think we got a new song by Porsha Love, you know what I mean? And we're going to play that right quick. Then we're going to come back and we're going to kick this whole interview off. So y'all stay tuned.
Let's take a walk through the city. We ain't gotta go far. We ain't gotta look pretty. You ain't gotta be a star. I gotta set the bar real high. Gotta live with my mind on God. Trying to get my eyes to the sky. Yeah, but I know I ain't perfect. Love like this seems forever and a day plus one. If I dial your number, I know that you'll pick up. Hey, it's me. You carry the world, yet you're still holding me. Nothing compares to how your love's so sweet. You can move mountains, part the 7 seas, but nothing compares to how your love's so sweet. Love's so sweet. Love's so sweet. Nothing compares to how your love's so sweet. Love's so sweet. Love's so sweet. Nothing compares to how your love's so sweet.
Nothing compares to your love. Everything about you is the sweetest donuts. If you ain't about it, cut them off. Cold cuts. Tell them clap it up if you love them and you show love. Who can compete with you? They all about them, but I'm all about you. No matter what it is, you gon' always come through. Never been a dummy, I know who to run to. You remind me, Usher. What she go through, won't crush her. No pressure. Sweeter than my grandmama's Kool-Aid. Tell them get the guy for it's too late. Too late.
Hey, it's me. You carry the world, yet you're still holding me. Nothing compares to how your love's so sweet. You can move mountains, part the 7 seas, but
right, y'all, welcome back. Appreciate everybody being tuned in. Take the second if you haven't already to go ahead and go ahead and share this, tag some people. If you're watching it on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And like I said, we have an interview today with the beautiful Michole Jones of Pretty Girls Get Sick. And if you wouldn't mind, just kind of give us a little bit of background, your name, just where you're from, anything you want to share with us.
Sure. Well, my name is Michole. My friends call me MJ just because it's sometimes hard to pronounce. People think it's Nicole, but it's Michole with an M. A New Yorker, born and raised in New York and still in NYC.
All right. Okay. And so just kind of let us know a little bit about, your platform. It's like I said, Pretty Girls Get Sick. What led to you, starting Pretty Girls Get Sick, and just kind of a little bit of information about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to sum it up real fast because it could get lengthy. As far as just like with Pretty Girls Get Sick, several years, about 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare disease called polymyositis, and that kind of just changed my entire life at that time and the course of my life. And just going through that, it's a chronic inflammatory disease, and it's an invisible one. So no one sees me. No one would look at me and think that, hey, she's dealing with something's wrong. You never know how you're going to feel each and every day. And definitely kind of going through the diagnosis, which took me about 3 years. One of the main things that I was struggling with the most as I was dealing with kind of coming to terms what was happening to me, the thing was like, it wasn't believable, and I would go to doctors and they'll, at that time, like I was never sick before. So of course now I'm all of a sudden seeing specialists. And because I was seeing so many physicians at the time, it was just like, wow, like, one of the biggest issues you're going to have is like no one's going to believe you because you don't look like anything is wrong with you. Yet I'm kind of losing mobility. I'm in chronic pain. I'm going through all these things. So it was kind of, and just people just sometimes out of, I don't want to say necessarily ignorance, because it's kind of ignorant, but then it's not, where people would just think because like, oh, you're too pretty to be sick. And sometimes I just didn't know how to take that. So like Pretty Girls Get Sick is basically with women dealing with invisible chronic illnesses. So not just chronic illnesses. It's almost like you're just saying, like, if a person is an attractive person, they can't get sick, which doesn't make any sense. Because to me, it's just like, well, what does sick look like? So that's how mainly Pretty Girls Get Sick comes about, because, sickness is definitely not a look, and, disability is necessarily not a look. So that's the reason for Pretty Girls Get Sick.
Okay. And so if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that, because of the illness that you have, is more of like an internal thing. There's not a lot of, outward signals, outward signs about it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for people maybe to like kind of take it seriously that you are struggling with something. Is that kind of?
Absolutely. With there's a lot of different terms under it's basically myositis. There's polymyositis, there's dermatitis, and depending on where you are as a patient, there are patients that are in wheelchairs. There are patients that can't walk. So again, where I did get to the point where I was almost at a vegetable state. And I was so weak that I basically couldn't get my head off the pillow at one point. Wow. But, as I started to like deal with it, I would just show up as myself. I'm a very, very girly, feminine. So I would, of course, come to these, doctor's visits or just anywhere where I go, I'm just my normal self. But, you have no idea that I can't like stretch my arm out to you. I can't lift my arms over my head. So I think that we just have, in the way the world looks at it, is like if someone is sick, you have to have an IV in your arm at that time. You have to have like a look. And not necessarily everyone has that. That's just polymyositis. But, you don't know if somebody's walking around and they're diabetic. You don't know if somebody's walking around, they have fibromyalgia. You don't know if somebody's walking around and they have lupus. They may not have, a skin rash on them at the time. They may not have all these other things. There's so many chronic conditions that you don't see with the eye, and people are struggling with them. Also, as far as disability, even when you look at, say, a handicap sign, right? A usual handicap sign is a person in a wheelchair. Polymyositis is an inflammatory muscle disease. So it's possible, because you lose your mobility skill, that can happen. Yeah. But I'm not in a wheelchair. I may be slower than much, and I may need that pass. But to me, it's just giving a visual that anyone that's kind of going through any mobility issue, that's the look they're supposed to have. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily it. There's many times that people still need those things to help them stay independent. And no one will believe them because they don't look like they are sick, which is something that we definitely, have to get out of.
Yeah, that's that was a good way of describing it. I appreciate that. So let me ask you this: so have there been times where you pull up at the handicap spot, you know what I'm saying, and jump out and like get dirty looks? People look at you like, nah, she done stole somebody's spot. She ain't nothing wrong with her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had to kind of. Yeah, I mean, it was really hard for me to accept that too, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like when I got diagnosed, it wasn't, sickness is not sexy. Let's just put it out there right now. Nobody wants to talk about sickness. No one wants to talk about it. Like, I was perfectly fine. And even for me to kind of get to the point where I was just like, my doctors was like, I think you need a handicap pass. It was kind of like, what? I don't want a handicap pass. But that helped me, you know what I mean? It helped me stay independent. And that's the main thing that I wanted to do. I felt like I was losing so much of my independence, like right before my eyes, happening so quickly that, I still needed to go to the grocery store. I still needed to go shopping. I still needed to get parking that was a little bit closer. So these handicap and these other things actually helped me to stay independent, because I just may need a little bit more assistance, but I'm not incapable of doing it on my own. So yes, I have come out of my car and, somebody's just like, oh, well, you're in the handicap sign, and I'm like, well, yeah, like, I know. Even there was a point where I felt that I almost had to like fake it and have a cane in my car. Huh?
So you like trying to walk with a limp, kind of?
Yeah, I had to like walk with a limp. I had to walk with it. And don't get me wrong, like there was a point that I was falling so much that I did have to use a cane. So I'm not going to say that, it wasn't true. But when it got to the point where I was kind of just walking a little bit better, I kept the cane in my car, because it's the whole thing. It's the visual. If someone doesn't see it, they don't believe it, So I would just sometimes walk with a limp, and walk out of my car, and just so no one would give me dirty looks, because it's almost like it's embarrassing. But what are you gonna do? Your situation is your situation. But I hope that I'm one of those people in the world that's gonna help to spread that awareness, to kind of like change that from people maybe thinking twice before they do say something, that what, that person could be going through something and I have no idea. Like, they look fine. But like, don't be nasty. Don't be rude.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. And so, so your journey started with, polymyositis, but the platform Pretty Girls Get Sick is not only for polymyositis. It's like you said, it's for other visible illnesses.
Yeah.
That's the kind of goal, is to be able to kind of represent them as well and encourage them.
Absolutely. Because, polymyositis is such a rare disease. It's not widely known. But, I remember during those first beginning years of me being diagnosed, and finding out what was happening, it was a very humbling experience for me and life-changing. I always felt like, when I get better, I want to be a person to help somebody that's like, just being diagnosed with polymyositis. I want to be able to be there, because at that time when it was happening to me, social media wasn't as big as it was now. So, you know, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. All I seen was like seniors or smaller children in wheelchairs. There was like no one in the middle. Or if you did hear about someone, they were like married, and I'm like 31, I'm a single girl. Like I found no one that I could relate to. And then, you know, as I was going through this, I started randomly, like a nurse, when I was in the hospital one time, she told me, you know, she was like, you know, I feel so bad for you, but she told me that she had fibromyalgia, and I never heard of fibromyalgia. And she's a nurse, and she's working, you know, I've also worked in hospitals, and she's working 12, 14-hour shifts. And she was just giving me pointers, and she was just like, you know, I know no one's going to believe you because no one believes me. I'm kind of like working in pain right now. But she didn't look like anything looked wrong with her. And then I started looking up fibromyalgia. And then I just like, wow, there is like this whole world of invisible chronic illnesses. It's just like if a person has sickle cell. How do you know if a person has sickle cell? You don't know until they're probably like going through one of their worst flares and they're in so much pain where you can actually see it. But if there's a day that they're fine, you're not going to know that that person has, you know, sickle cell or anything else. So I just didn't want to be inclusive just to polymyositis. I wanted to kind of create a community with women that are dealing with invisible illnesses, because invisible illnesses is totally different. The invisible disability is completely different. And you don't always, even within the chronic community, you'll have people that are disabled and look disabled, and they'll look down or like look at people that are disabled, considered disabled, but don't physically like look like something is wrong with them. And it's like a clash. It's insane. So I feel like we're kind of like our own little pack, and then not even a little pack, a big pack, you know, of people that, you know, I think the main thing that we deal with is just that nobody knows what we're going through. Yet we're in pain, you know, we're hurting inside, and we just kind of, our main thing is just like, it doesn't matter what condition you might have. Like our stories are still the same, where we just feel like, man, like nobody believes me. No one takes me serious. So that's even hard to deal with.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I like the way you explained everything, and I think it's a good stopping point to go ahead and, you know, take us a quick little break and play some dope music. You know what I'm saying? We are here to play some dope music and have conversations. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, y'all. We're back. We're back from break. You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all enjoyed the music. And like I said, we do have a dope conversation here with Michole Jones of Pretty Girls Get Sick. And, you know, this is a platform where, you know, a big part of our platform is, you know, faith. You know, it's our faith in Jesus. And so I just kind of wanted to touch on, you know, maybe a little bit about your testimony of walking with the Lord, and just kind of how, you know, your faith in Jesus has, you know, played a part in your journey with polymyositis and starting, you know, Pretty Girls Get Sick.
Okay, so where do I begin? I would say, like, I always identified as a Christian, you know, my entire life. I was the typical, you know, my mom took me to church every Sunday, you know, so I basically like grew up in the church. But I think, you know, as I'm older now, like I was, you know, I had fun in church, of course, you know, I was going to, you know, youth service and all these, you know, and Sunday school and all that stuff. But I think at the time, except when I became a teenager and I joined my dunamis youth group, I think I was just going just because of the fact that that's what you did. You know, that's what you did every Sunday. You were supposed to go. And definitely when I was a teenager in my church at the time, Christ the Life Christian Center, I definitely felt like, okay, I'm starting to have a relationship with God. But other than that, I just felt like it was something that I was just supposed to do. But I always identified myself as a Christian. And then, of course, I just kind of, you're trying to find your way. And, you know, I stopped going to church, or I was kind of going to church. But, you know, I never forgot God. But I would say that, you know, when this happened to me out of nowhere, you know, there's certain things that life experiences that a person goes through, and that will bring you to like these pivotal moments in your life, right? So for me, it was just like I was okay on Tuesday and I woke up Wednesday not okay. and nothing was the same ever again.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just kind of like, okay, like what's going on, what's happening? And from there, I just never got better. And it was years of trying to figure it out. And when I was going through that, like, you know, nothing got to me. You know, there was friends, you know, people can be supportive, your parents, your family could be supportive, but it's like I just needed more. And I remember I was hospitalized at that time, and I just remember just feeling like, you know, I just felt suicidal. I'll be honest with you. Like, I just felt like, if this is the way I gotta live my life, I don't even want to live it anymore. Like, I'd rather, and it could sound vain, it could sound like, you know, well, that's not enough, but you know, to me that was enough. Like to me, to like, from what they were telling me, like, you're gonna be in a wheelchair in 2 years, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. It was just like, whoa, this is like too much. Like, you know, I'm gonna graduate soon, like I have my whole life ahead of me, like what do you mean? And it was very depressing. Like, I was depressed, so I did feel suicidal. And I remember when I was in the hospital bed, Joel Osteen came on, and I never heard of Joel Osteen come on, and I feel like he's definitely a preacher of hope. People may feel what you feel about him, but you know, for me, he saved my life. And when I was having those feelings of suicide, because I just didn't want to deal with it, he brought me out of it. And I found myself every Sunday listening to him, like, and this is a person that I go to church, I have a great pastor, you know, but yet nothing was getting to me. Yet he did, because I think he preaches more about hope, and hope is what I needed. So I would say, kind of going through this entire experience, I'm really bad with verses, so I gotta get
Go ahead.
me, my notes out. There were just like a few things that definitely got me through it. And one was John 16:33. In this world you will have trouble, right? Because there was many times I was just like, you know, God, like, why am I dealing with this? Like, how did this happen? But you know, why me? But then I had to start shifting that, like, well, why not me? You know, Jesus went through, he suffered, he went through things. So, you know, John 16:33 got me through it. Definitely James 1, verses 2-4, the testing of your faith. That got me through it. Do not fear, Isaiah 41:10. And my favorite, do not worry, because I'm a worry wart. Like, I was just worried all the time. And that's Matthew 6:25. I don't know if you wanted me to read that, all of them, but you know, I had to keep going back to those verses, because those were the ones that stuck out. And again, when you're going through some things, the world sometimes can't fulfill you. Like, I was looking for that fulfillment. I was looking for that fulfillment in drinking, you know, maybe, you know, possibly smoking a joint every now and then, and just doing it. But I still felt very empty. And it was just like taking care of it at the moment. And I needed faith, I needed hope. And that's where I was just like, okay, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say that I fly right all the time. I do my best that I can, but you know, only God got me to the point where I'm at now, because honestly, I really wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for my faith. And me just believing and just trusting, and then getting around like-minded people, you know, especially within the past 2 years, to still help me go through it.
Amen. And that's good. I like, you know, the fact that, like you said, you know, scripture, you know, the promises in scripture were things that you held on to. I mean, you know, and that's important, man. God's word is powerful. And, you know, those are promises that we can hold on to, you know what I'm saying, that he's given us. So that's good to hear. And also, like, you know, like you said, you know, it can be one thing, you know, when you're young, but it's a lot of times, you know, you have to make your faith your own, you know what I'm saying? And certain stuff happens to kind of, you know, get you closer to God, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, because I mean, like, even thinking about the prodigal son, you know, he was, you know, out wilding out or whatever, and had not, you know, had allowed him to, you know, go out there and, you know, do that, and then run into that famine, you know what I'm saying, he probably would have, he might not have ever come back home, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
Yeah, so that's cool. And I think one thing I think too is that a lot of times on stuff we go through, I heard a quote, maybe just paraphrasing it, that a lot of times like the biggest hurts in our lives end up being our biggest ministries or our biggest passions for ministry.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that you turned kind of like the things you went through into something to be able to bless other people. And so like it seems like to me, what I'm saying, what Pretty Girls Get Sick is kind of like an extension of something you wish would have been there when you were kind of first going through your walk with polymyositis, right?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone, I think that everyone needs someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that at some point in your life, everybody's like wondering like what is their gift, like
mm-hmm.
what everyone's looking for like purpose.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to kind of like find purpose, like what am I supposed to be doing here? And that's whether you're a Christian or not, like you're just kind of trying to find like your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many times where I just didn't know what my purpose was. There's many things and interests and things that I liked. And back then I used to like love bloggers, and I used to go to blogger events, and I just like loved it. And I was like, I would like to be a blogger, but I didn't want to write, like I just didn't want to do certain things. And then kind of like when this happened, I've always had it in me. Like I always was a lover of people. Mm-hmm. So, it's just, as I was kind of going and dealing with it, it was like God was revealing it to me, like little by little. And trust me, even to this very day, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. There's like no roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really don't know. I get messages and like from women that are just like telling me their story, or just saying like, I heard a podcast that you were on, or I'm looking at your pictures and this is what I went through. And like, I'm feeling, as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my God, like, I know. And every time putting yourself out there wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, talking about sickness is not sexy. I could get on Instagram and I could take pictures and I could do a whole bunch of other things, right? That's very popular.
Yeah.
But, to talk about this was definitely opening me up, because I had my own insecurities about it. Like I'm recently kind of getting past my insecurities, and I still go through insecure moments, but it's like I'm at a point where I'm just kind of like, it is what it is, like this is how I am. I'm God's child, and I truly believe this was my purpose. And every single time I question God about it, and I'll be like, am I supposed to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Something will come, something will happen, and it won't be like months later, it'll be immediately. It'll be like immediately, and it would just kind of just set me back and just be like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So again, if I'm just here just to be like a vessel, if I'm here just to be a shoulder to cry on, to rant, to have funny moments, because I'm still me. Chronic illness is not it's a part of me, but it's not like necessarily like who I am. Mm-hmm. There's still many things. However, like people in this world are hurting, and there needs to just be more of me, because I know when I was going through it, I definitely needed a me, mm-hmm. and I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So I thank God that he kept me. I thank God for Joel Osteen that came on at that very moment when I was feeling like I'm done. When my mother found out that I was suicidal, she couldn't even believe it. She was like, what? Are you certain? But that's where my head was.
Yeah.
So I hope, even when it sometimes becomes overwhelming, I hope that there's somebody that's going to like see my story or come across my page or join my group. And if it's not just me, because I can't be anywhere and everywhere, because at the same time I work, I do have a chronic illness. I go through it myself. But like I said, it's about building community. So I want other women that's in the group, because Pretty Girls Get Sick is not about Michole. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's building the community. I want other women coming in and being able to mentor other girls and help other women. Because to me, it's bigger than me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if it's just to help a few people, then that's fine. You know, then I feel like I did what I was supposed to do, because every single time that I felt insecure about it, and I was just like, God, is this still what you want me to do? Mm-hmm. He confirmed it. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm just obeying, even in my somewhat doubts, about it, or mainly about myself.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool. Okay, I think it's a good stopping point right quick, just to, take a little quick break and play some more music. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, play a couple songs, man. Y'all just stay tuned, man. We'll come back and we're going to kind of wrap up the interview with Michole. And we'll be right back. Y'all don't go anywhere. All right, y'all. Welcome back. We're wrapping this interview up with Michole Jones with Pretty Girls Get Sick. It's our platform on Instagram. It's Facebook, also a private Facebook group, for women with invisible illness, chronic illnesses, to be able to connect. And so, just kind of in wrapping it up, I was going to ask you, kind of what your vision is, and also, like, before you get there, I wanted to kind of maybe highlight something I was thinking about in the last segment, was like, just in how, like, social media, like how it's, it's for, like, entertainment, it's for fun, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ignorant stuff on social media, but at the same time, it can be used for a lot of good, you know what I'm saying? Like, with your platform, being able to help people, and, like, even kind of what we're trying to do with Set Free Radio is, reach people, with this music, and reach people with the gospel, you know what I mean? And so I think it's very cool that, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, social media is a tool, you know what I'm saying, and being able to use it, for God's glory, and to
absolutely be
a blessing to people, I think is a great thing. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then, like I said, what are some of the things, you kind of see, I know you talked on, like, about maybe building, like, the community, but, like, what are some of your visions for, where you would like Pretty Girls Get Sick to kind of go and evolve into?
Okay, so this is like the $1 million question. Sometimes I think, like, boom, real big, maybe it's the New York girl in me, I don't know. But how my vision definitely for Pretty Girls Get Sick is to just keep growing the community. Mm-hmm. I want to have a community of mentors of women with different chronic illnesses. Mm-hmm. And within my private group, I host monthly meetings of, different topics. We talk about like all the things that I think that sometimes we don't want to talk about, you know what I mean? Or that you kind of asking in your mind, because I know I just had, like, a bunch of questions, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when I was diagnosed. So, working with a chronic illness. A girlfriend of mine that is my girlfriend Tracy, she is an HR professional. 2 months ago in my group, we hosted working with a chronic illness, and, like, how can you speak to your boss about it? How can you speak to your employer about it? Because, you want to still work. You want to still do things. Not everybody that has a disease, wants to go out on disability. You still want to be you. You still want to be independent. I want to be able to host workshops of, how you can stay employed. You may need to pivot. You may need to change careers, especially if you're doing something where you're diagnosed with a disability that affects you physically, mm-hmm. and you have a physical job where you're standing on your feet all day. You necessarily can't do that, but the rent is due, and New York is expensive if you're here, but I mean, across the country, it's expensive. Yeah. So you may need to pivot into a different career. At the same time, you may need to invest. There were people, like, that talked to me, but they were all married. And I was just like, all right, so you have your +1 where you could get on their insurance, right? That if something happened to you. When it was just me, there was nobody else's insurance that I can get on. If I got sick, my money stops, So I think that, women need to invest. So I would like to have some investors come in and speak 1 month and show, how can you invest with small things? You need to do things, not just the typical 401ks, like other stuff, so that you can feel secure, because at the same time, chronic illness is expensive. You can have a job, you can have all these things, but there's a lot of out-of-pocket expenses. So yeah, just dating and chronic illness, love and chronic illness, like all these things. And this is exactly why I have a private group, because I want to make sure that we can talk and we can feel comfortable speaking about these things. Mm-hmm. So my goal is definitely to have like a website and bring in these resources, at the same time being able to maybe eventually like help somebody with their rent, help somebody maybe with their car note. I know, in New York City, there's, we have transportation. I can't take transportation. I can't walk up the stairs. I can't, it's not reliable that the elevators are going to be working. I had to, get a car. I had to get a newer car that had better functionality in it. So your expenses may increase due to these things. So you have to change, you have to change your life. There's so many things that, the way my mind thinks, that I'm just like, I just want to be able to bring resources, empower, educate a woman, and then also have some like merch. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Some Pretty Girls Get Sick merch, some, maybe some loungewear, because, I'm definitely the girl that loves to have outfits for the house. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to leave it right there. But, yeah, okay. At the same time, things that I always need to pray on, because again, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I need guidance every day, because I want to make sure that I'm not taking guidance from people. I'm taking it from our Father, because they didn't give me the vision, God did. So sometimes it's just like it's too much. They mean well, but like somebody will definitely talk you out of your purpose and make you second guess yourself, and not because they're doing it purposely because they want to harm you, but it could just still happen. I'm taking it one day at a time. Mm-hmm. And I just hope that I guess if people connect with me, they'll see.
All right. Do you have any examples of like any merch, that you can kind of show the public?
Well, right now I just have like some tumblers. You probably can't see it, but it says, probably can't see it. It says Pretty Girls Get Sick, and it says not all battles are visible. Mm-hmm. So this is just one thing, but there's a number of things I'm thinking about, but I guess, stay tuned. But,
that's cool.
Yeah, God's timing, not mine. Because obviously if it's my timing, it may be, I don't know, I may be down for the next 3 days. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay. And then, you talked about people reaching out to you. What's the best way to be able to connect with you and reach out with you? You got your Instagram profile or whatever. How can they also reach out to you? Like if they want to, send you a message, or what's the best way?
Oh, well, it'll be through email. It will be prettygirlsgetsick@gmail. And through Instagram, but I understand everyone is not through Instagram. But yeah, I would just say the best way to get in touch with me is through email at prettygirlsgetsick@gmail. Yeah.
Okay. Any last word before we wrap this thing up?
I'm here for support. My DMs are open, support-wise, and you can sit with us. So that's really about it. You're not alone. Even when you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. And that's all I have for you.
Okay, cool. Well, I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you for, allowing yourself to come on here and talk about it. And like I said, man, y'all just take a second and look at the platform. If you're on Instagram, go ahead and check her out at Pretty Girls Get Sick. Give her a follow, support, what I'm saying? If nothing else, just follow and just kind of see what they're doing and share and pray. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the best things you can do is be praying for, Pretty Girls Get Sick, be praying for Set Free Radio. And, maybe we'll do some collaborations in the future.
That'll be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. And,
thank you for having me.
Oh yeah. It was a pleasure. And, we appreciate everybody watching, you know what I'm saying? Check all the platforms out on social media. We got got some dope music we're going to kind of wrap it up with. I think the last song I wanted to play is a song by Trip Lee. It's called Sweet Victory. Triple E is a Christian rapper that also kind of struggled with, I forgot exactly what his syndrome was, but it's like something that basically leaves him tired a lot, you know what I'm saying, at a young age. So he made the song Sweet Victory about that, and it's like even the video, kind of a metaphor for, you know, what he was going through. He talks about it in the song. It's just a very dope song, I think, to wrap it up with. So we're gonna wrap this thing up with that Triple E Sweet Victory. And, you know, and we appreciate y'all coming on, man. This has been Set Free Radio, Brother Justin. And grace and peace. God bless.
Bye.
I feel thorns where my crown was. I'll be weak, but I'm alive from the dust until dawn. Yeah, I'll survive, cause I got sweet victory. Nobody can take it from me. Sweet victory, cause I got sweet victory. Yeah. You see me live, I know you see me lippin'. You can't tell on these CDs, well, bro, I'm knee deep in it. I'm waiting in my weakness, he may be dependent. I be lying through my teeth to say I don't resent it. Even as I write these lines, I'm close to tears. My body ain't been working right for 7 years. So miss me with that, keep your chin up, try to smile. Bro, I'm 26, I should feel better by a mile. Keep all your anecdotes and cute quotes. I'll pass on cliches for true hopes. It's too dope. I feel thorns where my crown was. I'll be weak, but I'm alive from the dust until dawn. Yeah, I'll survive, cause I got sweet victory. Nobody can take it from me. Sweet victory, cause I got sweet victory, yeah. Toast to the king, cheers to the ceiling, feeling good, we gon' make it to the finish. Yes. Sweet victory, you hear me? Highly if you feel me. Yeah, we still running even though we limping. Yes. Sweet victory, cause we winning. Yeah, you know we winning. Even though we winning, we still in it. Yes. Sweet victory, cause we winning. Yeah, you know we winning, now we living. Sweet victory. They see me on the stage, they like that boy the man. They hear play on them songs, they clapping in them stands. They like, I bet you got a lot of them steps from rubber bands. So when I say it's been a half few years, they think I'm playing. But you don't know my life, boy. You don't know my life, boy. You don't know what it's been like on my wife, don't know my fight, boy. Been in them trenches, steady trying to fight my foes. And when I couldn't fight no more, you brought me low, you brought me low. I know I can't bear it low. I feel thorns where my crown was. I'll be weak, but I'm alive from the dust until dawn. Yeah, I'll survive, cause I got sweet victory. Nobody can take it from me. Sweet victory, cause I got sweet victory, yeah. Toast to the king, cheers to the ceiling, feeling good, we gon' make it to the finish. Sweet victory, you hear me? Highly if you feel me. We still running even though we limping. Sweet victory, cause we winning. Yeah, you know we winning. Even though we winning, we still in it. Sweet victory, cause we winning. Yeah, you know we winning, now we living. Sweet victory, yeah. They like, I hear you talking ways, but I see your losses. You celebrating crowns, but I see your crosses. That's the paradox, it don't fit in your merit box. You might not understand it, you out in this pair of socks. The victor ain't the one that's winning 7th inning. Trophies don't go to the ones that got a good beginning. When I say I win, I mean this day I'm in. I mean that day, but the grace I fade out then. I win it cause I reign with him.
Declares you're king. A scarlet robe can cloak your majesty. Yeah, they nailed your hands. You nailed
Set Free Radio. Truth music for East Texas.